So my name is Ainur, and I'm heading the mobile publisher efforts in South Asia. Cool. Okay, so what I would like to talk to you today about is one piece that will be very interesting for you, how you can increase your revenue. And that is our ad serving platform, AdMob. So who has heard about AdMob? Okay, cool. Okay, so you'll know that AdMob was built by developers for developers, and Google has bought AdMob in 2010. Since then, we have been investing in helping developers in each stage of their life cycle. What this means specifically for AdMob is we have integrated the buying power of AdMobs into AdMob, which is now a one-stop solution platform for you where you can essentially monetize, promote, and analyze. Our reach is quite big. So in AdMob, we have got 650,000 applications that monetize with AdMob. And you can reach 900 million devices in 200 countries. So wherever you are or wherever you want to be, we can get you there. Okay, who of you actually uses AdMob to promote or monetize? Okay, quite a few. Cool. So you will know, as a publisher, you will know that we have just recently launched our new front end. While you may only see a new front end, what we have also done is we have essentially rebuilt AdMob from a pure ad network to an ad serving platform. We have integrated mediation services like ad network optimization and live CPM that will essentially enable you to maximize your revenue. So our goal, again, is a one-stop solution for you. And with this, we have increased our demand. More buyers are interested in buying into our ad network, which obviously results in higher CPMs for you and higher payouts. You can now reach over 1 million advertisers with AdMob globally. So that's a huge, huge reach for you. Here's just to show you an example of a successful case study. Who knows hill climb racing? Cool. So hill climb racing was built by Tony Fingerross, and Tony Fingerross was very successful in using our tools to maximize their revenue. If you want to hear more about him, just go into admob.com homepage and you'll find more success stories. If you're interested in a case study, actually come later to talk to me. And we want to work with you regardless on which platform you are. So in addition to being able to monetize on Android, iOS, and Windows Phone, we've recently also launched Unity Plugin. Unity Plugin enables game developers on Unity to easily integrate our SDK. And one more good news for you as a developer. With the AdMob launched, we have integrated our AdMob SDK into the Google Play Services SDK. This is a huge advantage for you because you don't have to separately upgrade your SDK anymore. What this means is with every push that Google Play Service does, we automatically upgrade and push this out to your users and to your AdMob SDK as well. So if you are an Android developer, I highly recommend you upgrade your SDK so that you get advantages from automatic upgrades and bug fixes. Okay, let me go into the monetization bit, which I wanted to talk to you about today. Let me ask you another question. Who of you has been developing applications for more than 5 years? Okay, then another quiz question actually. 5 years ago, how many applications were there in the App Store? Come on, I have a gift for you. 500, yes, that's correct, 500. And how many applications do we have now? I think Vineet has mentioned this as well. I have more gifts. Anybody? Perfect. Another one, 1.1 million in each, so over 1 million in each app store. The gentleman in the front? Thank you. So you can see there has been over 2,000% increase over the past 5 years. So the competition has been increasing dramatically. What this means is in order to remain competitive, you not only have to build great apps, but you also have to use data in order to understand your audience. Users are now more interested in free apps. You are able to use IAP in order to monetize your apps. But IAP is not distributed equally. So as a developer, you really need to understand your audience, which my colleague Vineet has highlighted. And we know the importance for you. So at the GDC in San Francisco this year, we had launched a slew of new products. So we have integrated Google Analytics into AdMob. We have launched IAP ads on AdMob, and we have launched mediation features like real-time bidding in AdMob as well, all available and for you and free available. I'm going to skip over this very quickly. Just want to make sure that I message the importance of this. Using analytics, no matter which tool, is very, very critical to remain competitive, especially if you look at how many 100,000 of application developers you're essentially competing with. So, as I said earlier, analytics is integrated in AdMob. So go trial it out and use it in order to see how you can essentially segment your users to be able to increase your revenue with in-app or ads even. So let me talk about in-app. Before I go into in-app, I'd like to talk to you about the different monetization models. So currently, as you all know, we have paid, we have freemium, we have IAP and ads monetization. What we have seen in user trends is that users don't want to pay anymore. Users want free ads. In fact, I don't know, the last time I've downloaded a paid ad was probably 2 years ago, and that was the only time I downloaded a paid app. So paid is fading out slightly. In order to be successful, you essentially need to make sure that you know your users to be able to target those IAP ads, which I already mentioned. And this may not come as a surprise to you. IAP shows the biggest revenue potential for app developers. But there are two caveats. One is IAP has been working well for game developers. If you operate in an app vertical that is outside of games, it is less likely you're going to make huge bucks with IAP. And second, not all users spend, and if they do spend, they don't spend equally. So 15% of your users, of all users, make in-app. Out of those 15%, only 2 to 6% of users essentially make up a big chunk of your revenue. On average, 95% of your revenue if you are lucky. So you really need to understand who are those killers and those whales, and who are the minnows and the so-called freeloaders. With such a few amount of users that are making up a big chunk of your revenue, your revenue stream is very volatile. So the question is, how can you create a sustainable revenue stream without depending on just a few percentage of your users? As Vineet already mentioned, the hybrid monetization model with the use of IAP and ads monetization is essentially the one that the most successful users use. Game Basics has used this in order to maximize their revenue. And currently they are doing 75% with IAP and 25% with users. So if you are the lucky one with who are to generating 95% of their revenue with IAP, what I suggest you to do, know your premium users. Know who the killer whales are. And when they're playing your game, show IAP to them. For the freeloaders, you simply show them ads. Okay, let me talk to you about the second piece of that hybrid model, the monetization on ads. It's quite simple, actually. The more impressions you have, the more revenue you're going to get. So, as an app developer, when you start off, you usually use one ad network. But as you grow, you will want to use more ad network. And that's good. We really encourage for you to do that. But as you can see, ad networks, each performance of ad networks are completely different. So you will want to use mediation services in order to maximize your revenue and to ensure that you're essentially filling all the impressions you have for ads. And we know this. So with the integration of mediation services like real-time bidding, you now can essentially optimize and maximize the revenue you're getting from each ad network. So what it basically does is it automatically updates the CPMs in your mediation chain and delivers the ad network with the highest CPM. So this is less manual work for you that you can essentially concentrate on app development. And another success story, actually, iHandy. iHandy has been using this for the past 6 months. I think it's been 6 months and has already had an impact of 200%. So developers have seen a huge increase by using this. Okay. So there are not only back-end advances and features that we have launched, but we have also launched new ad formats. Let me just give you a few examples of the ad formats which we have launched that might be of interest of you. This is the Smart Banner. And the Smart Banner basically auto-adjusts the ad to fit the width and height of the screen, which is obviously perfect for you because users have a positive experience on your app. The next one is interstitials. Interstitials we have had for a while, but you were only able to get it through whitelist. Now it's essentially launched to all developers. And app developers love it because we've seen a 5x increase on CPMs. So if you haven't tried it out, go try it out. The best way to try it out is we recommend essentially app open, upon app open. And if you have a game that takes longer, analyze your user engagement and see where you can essentially slot it in. Usually our recommendation is to use interstitials in between game levels as a commercial break, essentially. What we've also done is we have taken the most successful ad unit, ad format from YouTube and integrated into AdMob, true video ads. So we have gone through a lot of details. I think the one thing that I want you to take away is think about AdMob as a one-stop solution for you, the platform where you can find all the tools to monetize your revenue. And one information that might be of value for you, if you're interested in learning more about development cycles, go check out App Developer Business Kit on google.com, which we have just recently launched. It will give you more information on the insights and research we have done. If you have any questions, please either reach out to me now or come to me later. Thank you.
Hi everyone. I'm going to be louder than the rest. I think you You can barely hear me, right? Can you hear me there? You can? You can hear me too. Great. So we've covered two things so far. Vineet spoke about the importance of considering a strategy while making games. And then we heard Ainu talk about AdMob as a platform, as a one-stop solution for all your requirements, right? Now the third thing is about user acquisition, right? It's a complex field where you need to invest to get returns, and that's what I'm going to be covering, and why Google is a good platform to go about user acquisition. I want to start this off with a quick look at the Vatican, 2005, 2013, and this is how even the Vatican has changed, right? Phones are all around us. I can see people using it right now. It has indeed changed, and this is the Vatican, right? I have another picture of a rock show. You'd expect the same situation there as well, right? So things have changed, and the mobile is all pervasive, right? A little bit about how mobile devices are spread across different parts of the world, right? And these are high-end devices. 42% of all mobile high-end devices are here in Asia, right? And you would argue that the population is higher, you know, there's a lot of density in Asia, etc. But even high-end phones like iOSs and high-end Androids are highest out here in Asia. So this is how important Asia as a market, Asia Pacific as a market is for mobile phones. And then we're looking at 2 years later. What happens is that 42% becomes 54%, which means more than half the number of high-end devices in the world will be here in Asia. So lesson number one, mobiles are important. Lesson number two, APAC's the place to be in. Let's dig a little more. Whoops. Where are the growths coming from? The highest growths are coming from these countries. Thailand is also one of them. I don't have the stat to put it in right there. But 380%, 260% growth in China, which is already huge. So it's very important to consider that this space is hotting up here in APAC. So if you are in the business of making games, think of it mobile first, think of it APAC first, right? Now, I'll try and look back into what we used to do 5, 7, 9 years back, right? And what were the messages we got from there? This was an ad, right? So we had an ad which was very, very naive, but we got lessons from these kind of ads as well. What was it? We said that casual games has a future, 2009, and we said that networks will grow as importance for user acquisition. Now that's one lesson that we got, and then we said we'll look at what other things that we can learn from here. We said that the impact on ranking is very, very important, which means people do blast campaigns to make sure that they rise up on the listings. We need to get to the top 25 to 100, easier said than done, but then you need to make sure that you watch conversion rates and measure what your returns of investment are. Go further, we came into games and messaging as two platforms that started doing well on the stores. And we realized that networks plus are the most important thing. We got direct response campaigns. And so, pardon me, I get a little distracted. So we said that there are more lessons we can get. And then we realized that analytics and tracking is very, very important. There are tools out there available from Google as well. So make sure you use these tracking systems to know what's happening inside your game. Now it's gone beyond just games. Applications are developed by all kinds of verticals, travel, retail, and there's a lot more of information out there to know what we're getting at scale. So the story per se has not changed, except that we have a lot more details, a lot more data that you can play with to make sure that money you've invested is well spent, right? And we can use Google. We can use a lot of aspects of Google that can help you. I'll focus on making sure that you grow your audience, right? There are three things that you need to remember when you do a marketing campaign, especially on mobile. One is to be there, which means that if you're not being seen, you'd not be preferred, right? Be there, be optimized, and be relevant. How do you be there? Google has a multitude of products, a multitude of platforms where you can find out what works best for you. So there's search, which is high intent, which means you can actually promote your app, your game on search, which means that your CPIs will be possibly the lowest, and you would also get a lot of targeting by way of inputs we get from the Play Store. Specifically on Play, on Android, we can get a lot of insights from the Play Store, which will help you refine your targeting. The second thing is the AdMob, like Ainur mentioned, reaches a huge number of people, and therefore it could be a nice scalable way to reach out to large audiences. There are more opportunities. We've recently launched an app install product on YouTube. Vineet was talking about how engaged people are on video and on YouTube in particular. We've launched this format where you show a video, people can click through the video, reach the Play Store, download, and boom, it shows up on your AdWords front end. So that's something that's extremely useful. Another thing that we have is, like Ainur mentioned, interstitials. We also have video interstitials, which means after a level of the game, an interstitial comes up and a video plays out, which means that there's so much more engagement that you can offer to your users. The third is Gmail sponsored promotions. This is something that will come out on your email, which is on the side of your email. You can click through. We can do a lot of targeting there, which means if you want to specifically target one set of your audience, you can reach out to them through the GSP. The second thing that I spoke about, one was be there. The second is be optimized. And we have a multitude of tools to help you with that. Conversion tracking is now codeless on Android. You don't need any code on your app, and conversions through AdWords get reported directly onto the AdWords front end. On iOS, you'll need a snippet of code, but it's fairly simple. We also have a best-in-class solution called Conversion Optimizer, which means that you put your store out, your app out there, and you say, I want to promote it. You tell the AdWords front end that I want it to be at a maximum of $1 per download, and Google will deploy its Conversion Optimizer to make sure that you get maximized scale within that dollar, which is a ceiling for your CPI. The second thing is measuring the lifetime value of your users. Very critical. Vineet mentioned it, Ainur mentioned it. It is the most important thing that you can do in terms of tracking and analytics. Focusing on the largest and most important clients is probably the most important thing, and therefore measuring LTV of your clients is critical. We have tools for that. There are third-party tools as well. Google Analytics, for one, is free. It can be deployed as and when you need it. Again, on lifetime value, you need to know how important a single user is for you, and therefore reach out to them. There are three things that you need to keep in mind when you measure lifetime value. The whole industry has been focused on CPIs. How much do I pay for a download? How do I maximize downloads? But I think now the industry is going towards re-engagement. I spent a lot of VC money and got 1 million downloads. Unfortunately, only 10% of those downloads are actually engaged with my product today. So was that 1 million downloads worth anything? I don't think so. So therefore, you need to look at re-engagement, and we have just launched a re-engagement product which says that I can bucket my users to say this top 10% is engaged. The remaining, say, 90%, I can break it down to people engaged at different levels and start re-engaging them with my products. And that is something that we've just rolled out less than a week back. The third thing that I spoke about was be relevant, and that's where the message of remarketing will resurface itself. It is very critical to be able to measure how I can keep my audience sticky onto me. So 3 things, like I said. 1, be there. 2, be relevant. And 3, be optimized. Whenever you promote your app, please make sure that you have these 3 things on the top of your agenda. With that, I will sign off. You can reach out to me at Krishna KU, and folks in Thailand can reach out to Ben King as well, benking@google.com. We'll try and come back to you with any with solutions for your queries. Any questions? I'm happy to field them, or else you can shoot me an email. Thank you.
Okay, we'll get started. Wow, now I can understand why all the speakers were really complaining. It is shouting against that big voice. So I have no idea if you can hear me or not right now. Krishna says he can hear me, so thank you, perfect. I'll try and be as loud as I can. This is the interesting part, the best part. How many of you are developers here? Yeah, go for it, good, perfect. It's very interesting. Somebody was telling me long back, they were trying to go for climbing a very big mountain. And they were trying to make a list of what are the most important things you need to successfully climb a big mountain. So any guess on what is the most important thing you need to have if you have to climb a big mountain? An oxygen mask. What else? Shoes. Okay, any other guesses? One more guess. It's very, very important. Okay, I'll give the answer. The most important thing is you have to have a big mountain, right? Okay. And the reason I mentioned that was you can make a lot of money. There are tons of things, AdMob and making revenue. What do you need for that? You actually need a game. You need something that will actually get your users, and that's where you actually start making money. So we'll talk about a few things about how to go about building games. This is not a coding session, so I will not actually ask you to learn or understand any code, but this will give you a very good picture of how Google supports developers and why it's easy and important to write on the Google platform. So I am Amit Chopra. I have been a developer for a very, very long time, almost 20 years. Spent many years in digital, Pricewaterhouse, 15 years at Microsoft, and now I'm the regional head for the developer evangelism for Google. So I've done a lot of coding, I've done a lot of hacking, I have written a lot of games myself, and I also play a lot of games. Candy Crush is my most recent favorite, actually. Good, yeah. A lot of Candy Crush fan out here. So my team is essentially the developer relations team, and we go and talk to developers and make sure that they have all the tools and resources that are necessary for them to be successful. So that's what our job is all about, getting you successful in building applications using the Google platform. So we've already seen this particular chart in multiple ways in this presentation. Like, why is Google important from a gamer's perspective? What can we offer you? So what I'm going to spend is most of my time on the build side of things. How do you go about building the application? What do you need to think about? And where can Google actually help you be very, very successful with your games? So I'm going to basically break up my talk into 4 topics. It's about building web games, mobile games, what we have as part of the Play Game services, and the cloud platform. So I'll basically touch upon these things. So when it comes to building mobile games, one of the big things that we as Google have to offer is a very rich Android platform. So you have a very powerful operating system that is available in billions of devices. That's a huge thing. When you're looking out for reach and you want to maximize your investment, going after a big platform always helps. You can also look at powering up your games using cloud. So again, a lot of gamers struggle with the infrastructure side of things. So you have the client, but how do you build and host your games? You can use the Google Cloud for that. In terms of being able to distribute your mobile apps, you have Google Play Store, again, giving you a massive reach on the kind of things you can do. We also have the Google Plus integration into your apps that will allow you to make your games extremely viral. You can also do personalization with it, but you can also just say get the Google Plus on the games natively integrated, which means as a person is playing and they like that, other people, his friends, can watch that as well. So that's very useful. And we had a lot of people talk about the AdMob side of things. Same thing on the website. One of the challenges people have is how do I get the infrastructure to build these websites? So then again, the Google Cloud Platform comes in handy. You also have HTML5, which is extremely powerful. There's some amazing games that have been written using HTML5 today. And that's very cross-browser. Many new browsers support that. And you can write some very powerful applications with it. However, if you want to go and write something more native, which means you can get the full power of the client, you can use NaCl as well. So you can look up that and develop apps using that too. And sometimes people say, if it's a web game, I always have to be connected to the internet. So I'm sitting here attending this talk, I can't play that game. But that's not entirely true. A lot of the games in the browser, you can take offline and you can play while you're not connected to the net. So lots of games are written that way as well. And same thing with the cloud, the browser side of things. They're out. Now this is going to be hard to compete. Sorry about that. Okay, I'll keep going as loud as I can. So we also have the Chrome Store. So just like you have the App Store, Play Store for mobile, on Chrome you can also basically advertise and publish your games. Makes it very easy. A lot of features for the Google Plus integration. And the most interesting one that I have seen recently becoming extremely popular, especially in this region, has been people uploading their gameplays on YouTube. It's just amazing how big that community has become and how many audiences you can engage once you have those systems hooked in. And a lot of these things are now part of the Play services. So as a developer, there's very little effort that's required from your side to have a gameplay of a person be uploaded to a website that many people can watch. So talking of the gameplay services, now this is something which I believe is the most critical and a huge value add for all the developers. There's so many things that you as a developer have to think about when you're writing your game. And I think the most important thing for you to worry about is your game, right? You're most focused on that. There are a lot of things that the platform can essentially just take care of you. And we have found things like building leaderboards is an amazing way to engage people. Now you can spend a lot of time actually writing a leaderboard yourself. You're all smart developers. I'm sure you can do that. But is that something which is the most important thing that you should worry about? So for those kind of things, Google Play has services that are built in. And with very simple API calls, you get the full functionality of building leaderboards and engagements out there. Very recently, in fact, as recent as about 10 days ago, we launched the concept of quests. So anybody who has played Candy Crush, for example, after 10 levels, they'll say, okay, play these quests. You can play one quest a day, and then after completing 3 of them, you go to the next level. Now, to write something like that will take a lot of time. You'll probably have to update your apps. But with the Play services, all these services are just available to you. So even without re-releasing your games, you can introduce a lot of quests and make your games more attractive to your developers. And again, with achievements, showing the ability to people to save games. It's so popular. All of us have devices today. I could play a level of Candy Crush. Again, I keep saying Candy Crush because I play that a lot. So I'm playing that. Then I want to go home. I have a different phone. My game state can just come back to me. So, if my daughter has taken one of the phones, I know that between us, my games will be my games. And you can, without doing a lot of effort as a developer, you get a lot of these things pretty much absolutely for free. And then building multiplayer games. Again, we know that a lot of your customers will not just be Android developers, right? They'll also have other platforms that you will be building for. So how do you build a game that very seamlessly works across all these devices? So again, Play Services provides native APIs that allow you to build those kind of games very, very easily. So again, the whole Play Services, Android, iOS, C++, web, covers the full spectrum from a developer's perspective. And if you are a very serious gamer, I'm sure you have probably picked up one of the gaming engines, right? I know, for example, Unity has been extremely popular with people. Gamers have talked to us about that. And a lot of these engines also we natively integrate into Play Services. So that's a huge advantage. So as a developer, again, you're not worried about whether the choice of this engine will work for me or not. And there's more and more effort to add more engines to the Play Services. So Play Services 5 was very, very recently announced. This was 10 days ago. And there have been a lot of talks going around how popular this has become with the developer community. I saw a series of video recordings that we did with the top 10 gaming companies on how quickly they were able to build in. And I think from one thing that really stood out again was the ability to do quests. Somehow what happens is people are finding that newer and newer games are coming out, and keeping your users acquired is one problem, just getting users, but then getting them engaged is a much bigger challenge. So quests very easily make that happen, and especially with the fact that you don't have to update your games, it's very easy for you to launch weekend quest or something fun that's happening, an event happens, and you can just time something very quickly around that. So I think there's a lot of information that you can look up in the web and see the videos, but Quest definitely has stood out extremely well from this. So one of the things, we also publish from a developer relations perspective is guidelines on, when you're using Play Services, how you should integrate with them. And some of these things also value when you are trying to register or show yourself on Play Store as a highlighted game or an application. A lot of information has been published in terms of how you should integrate sign-in, put achievements, leaderboards in your application. And for each of them, there is essentially a required category, that there are certain things that are absolutely required for your game to say, yes, it meets the requirements of this. And then there is nice to have, and certain things which are just value added. So as an app developer or a game developer, I highly encourage you to go through some of these things, or have somebody in your team, in your QA team, for example, responsible for looking at these things and understanding what are the most important things that you should follow through. These things help in when you try and approach us and say we want our games highlighted. Our reviewers will be usually looking at these things for consistency. Then talking about the Google Cloud Platform. Google Cloud Platform is interesting. Google has been running on the world's largest infrastructure for many, many years, 15 years. I mean, when you hit a search, how quickly you get the information back. And now the same platform is made available to developers as the Google Cloud Platform. So you can take all the same advantages that apps like Google Maps takes to actually render and display information. The same capabilities, the same networks, the same fiber, the same DNS is available to developers as well. So in terms of the cloud platform, we essentially offer things on the compute side. So if you want to host your application or build your application, the first box here is the App Engine, which is basically platform as a service. So all you have to do is write code. That's it. You pick one of the 4 languages we support: Go, Python, PHP, and Java. You just write your code, don't have to worry about anything else. And Google takes care of all your scaling, uploading, management, everything is taken care of. The second thing is using the compute engine, which is infrastructure as a service. So in that case, you say, I have my own proprietary operating system, or I have a specific library that is not supported on platform, and I want to make that as a scalable solution. We have an offering for that as well. So a lot of people go between 1, 2, or a mix of both, which is called the hybrid virtual machines, which is again a new thing that Google has announced. Again, for gamers, storage is a very big thing. So you can have just your media files that you'll be storing or distributing, or you may just want to archive somebody's game states so that they can be retrieved at other places. So we have multiple options that are available for storage. And from an analytics perspective, while we have a lot of built-in analytics things available, you may be wanting to analyze just your gameplay data in a very unique way. So for that, you can definitely use things like the BigQuery. Massively fast processing engines can very quickly sort out and analyze data in amazingly fast way. The best example I have seen, I ask this question a lot of time. Anybody here getting married? That's my favorite question. Anybody getting married in the next couple of months? Anybody recently got married? Okay, fine, interesting. When I got married, I had sent out 800 invitation cards. 800 is a big number. But let's say you want to actually invite 15 billion people. That's a lot of number as well. So 7 billion from this planet and 7 billion from another planet that might exist. Now, if you had that kind of data and you wanted to basically just make a sorted list, BigQuery can return a sorted list in about 52 seconds for you. So that's the kind of power we are talking about, the platform that you can all start using today. And for app developers, you can use cloud endpoints. Again, a very easy way to provide services that can be consumed by a variety of mobile clients for your applications. So again, for gamers, a lot of little things. The only thing that I've called out, sorry, the fonts shrunk here, but if you realize the whole value that as Google we are trying to provide, just remember one thing. We want you to focus on your game. You own the IP. You have the knowledge of what your game means to you and your users. You can pretty much leave the rest of the infrastructure, development, all the other things on Google's platform very, very safely. So that's a huge value proposition. So if you, as I said, you want to run your game in the cloud, don't worry about the infrastructure side. You can choose the app engine or the compute engine. Again, depends on what kind of requirements your game actually has. You could be wanting to serve very large media files. You have the cloud storage available. So again, something that you shouldn't have to worry about, and you can leave it to the Google Cloud Platform. From user engagement, already talked about things like BigQuery, or just if you want to analyze data yourself, you can do things like the standard MapReduce. And Google Analytics, of course, is built in that you can use to analyze just behaviors, patterns, revenue, and other things for your platform. Synchronizing of game states, again, a very popular thing. So a combination of using App Engine, data store, the cloud storage. You have all these capabilities just available to you to jumpstart very, very quickly. And from building applications, apps that consume a lot of services, taking care of versioning, version control, having multiple versions out there, Cloud Endpoint just makes it a breeze. So a lot of these things, we can go in a lot of detail, but this was unfortunately not the time that we had to cover a lot of things in depth. But there's tons of documents, videos that our team produces, which are available on the YouTube channels and as white papers that I highly encourage you to look at and get a good picture of what Google Cloud Platform can offer to you. Now, while this particular chart may look extremely intimidating, you look at it and say, wow, that's a lot of boxes, and gosh, this is scary. Trust me, most of your apps that you'll be working on or are already working on are as complex as this, even more complex. What this one is basically trying to show you is that a lot of the complexity you can basically pass on to the Google infrastructure. And you don't have to take the whole thing as like a one big thing. You can start with small pieces. You can just start with, say, the App Engine. You can maybe just start with the cloud endpoints. And over a period of time, you can see how very seamlessly a lot of these services can just build and let you just focus on your game. And we take care of the scaling aspect, all the issues regarding infrastructure. A small gaming company, biggest nightmare is sometimes their own success, right? Suddenly the game becomes viral, somebody reviews it, and now your infrastructure just comes crashing down. So when you start, I think it's very important to pay a little bit attention and see how you should think about your architecture, but not have to invest a lot in doing a lot of these things. You should look at the pieces that are already out there and then basically just optimize your game around that. So focus on your game logic, the gameplay, and your users. That's the most important thing. And Google can take care of the rest of the infrastructure. Another very interesting thing that I talk about to a lot of developers is once you have your game ready, you think you have everything in place, this is where the interesting things start. Like, how do we start getting on Google Play Store? How do I make sure that things that I've done are ready? So we publish a number of guidelines and checklists. And I'm not going to go through all of them in detail, but I wanted to give you an idea that it's very important that, if you want to go to Google Play and make the best of it, make sure you spend, a few hours just going through the publishing checklist. It's a very comprehensive list and covers some very interesting points that you might overlook at some point. Somebody says, hey, great, I can put my app in all the countries. But that's excellent. But then suddenly you have to start thinking about localization. You may have to figure out, what if my customer is in a very different time zone and he's having a problem? How would I actually support him? So by following this particular kind of a checklist, it gives you a very good idea in terms of just thinking through the quality of your application. Because in the end, it's the quality of your application by which your users will stay with your application. That's the most important thing. So these checklists, while they look very intimidating and you say, wow, that's a lot of things to think about, it's for your benefit more than anything else. And the structure that we put behind this just makes sure that every little thing is being thought through. Now, you may not have to worry about everything, but once you see the information, at least you can go back and say, whoa, I completely didn't think about that. I didn't think about beta testing my app at all. Maybe I should do that. Well, that's obviously a very good idea. So these checklists are important, very well documented, and then you can go through them and, with your teams, a lot of these are your own business decisions. At the end, your game is for you to make money, and you can decide how you turn the dial on a lot of these things. But just knowing the spectrum in which you can move is always very, very useful. So again, something I highly encourage all the developers I talk to is be familiar with this, or at least somebody in your organization, mostly from the quality assurance team, should be aware of what the policies and practices are. You should also, from a perspective of just knowing which APIs to use in which circumstances is important. The last thing you want is the Play team to come back and pull your app out. The moment it becomes successful, they realize that, hey, you have violated some policy. I'm actually dealing with a case right now for a company where they inadvertently used some APIs for business which they were not supposed to. So it was very clearly mentioned in the checklist, but it's very obvious that they didn't go through that part, and now the Play team is pulling out that app. So that's not what you want after suddenly pushing and putting all the money and getting the app out, is to suddenly get pulled out for something you overlook. So very useful guidance for all the developers. So now once you have everything, how do we wrap this thing up? First thing, watch some videos on the site called Game On. This is, I think, one of the best video channel that I have seen done by Google on gaming. Very short talks, but very, very precise, and covers a lot of things about policies and processes as well. The second one is the Opera moment, as I call it. This is a code that you can use. This is a $500 worth credit code. So if you go to the Cloud Starter Pack, this website here, and you enter, it'll ask you to enter a code. You can actually enter this code DR-IN. And if you are using cloud, that will give you a $500 credit to the Google Cloud Platform. So that's again a great way for you to quickly go and say, hey, now I'm up and ready, I can experiment with a few things. And then, of course, this was not enough for me to communicate with you, or even for me to come here often enough. We have a very vibrant Google Developer Group community. Oh, would you mind just waving your hand here? He's not paying attention. Oh? So O runs the Google Developer community, the Google Developer Group for the region. And we have Som behind, who runs the Google Business Group as well. So these are our local community folks here. They run a lot of talks and sessions. I highly encourage you to spend time with them. They do a lot of in-depth discussions. They get the local people to come and talk about app building and other things, and you can share your experiences as well. So I'm hoping that, after this talk, if you are already not using Google Cloud Platform and building on Google, you would start doing that and engage with the community. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate your being here. Thank you. I think the next speaker just walked in right in time. Is it you, Sid? Next? We have another person? Okay. Google and the companies have to go through the clearance process. But as I said, these are not Google device enhancements of Google Play Services 5.0 was to make great experiences for wearable devices. Most of your apps today would just work out of the box, which is the best part. So if your app does anything like a notification, your notifications will automatically show up to the pair, the next person. I'm guessing it's the traffic here in Bangkok. I spent like 20 minutes just outside this area trying to figure out, how to get in. It was really busy. I think it's just somebody trying to be stuck in the traffic right now. So any one of you has a game published already out there on Google Play? I'm assuming, quite a few of you. That's good. Seeing good numbers. Any feedback for me to take back? It's you can share anything you want. We turned on the monetization just about a few months ago. It was, he'll bring the mic to you.
Thank you for your presentation. I want to ask you, why the developer console, the date is not real time?
Why it's not real time?
Yeah.
There is a little bit of a latency that we are seeing.
I think 1 day or 2 days or 1 day, we cannot realize how many installs we got.
The last I heard, they was bringing it down to about 1 hour. I think there is still
Really?
some amount, yes.
So
But I can definitely double check on that. I heard
Yeah.
it from one of the speakers recently on this particular aspect, that the latency has been reduced significantly.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's still real time, but it's down to, literally a matter of 30 to 60 minutes.
If
So-
it will be improved, I am so pleased.
Okay.
Thank you.
เพื่อให้กับวิทยากรของเราด้วยนะคะ so let's take a break for 10 minutes and we come back once again for the one more speaker.
My name is Sid, and I'm going to cover something which is digital creatives and gaming and how both of them link together. So that's like a quick introduction about me, which I'll definitely be skipping. Now, interestingly, what is happening is that there's like billions and millions of dollars involved when it comes to advertising on the internet, which is like pixels on the web that sell for money. Now, what I am going to present is like opportunities for gaming developers, how they can link their gaming talent into those creatives, share some examples with you guys as to how like the new technology is developing and what are some of the latest examples happening. And I'll also give like a brief overview about how things are shaping up for the industry. Besides that, I have a tool for people who are developers here, which is called like DoubleClick Rich Media Studio. Once I cover the creatives, I'll also cover the tool a little bit as to how you can make creatives, add creatives in a really like hassle-free way and a very, very fast way. Before I start, I really want to make sure that the people who are here do receive some swag. So we have like limited amount of swags available, and the gentleman here can help us. So it's a first come, first serve basis, not many. So come forward and collect your swag before they get over. Yeah. So it's a limited number. So people on the back, hurry up. Yeah. So whosoever comes, we'll just distribute it. Yeah. Please. Yeah. Don't be shy. I mean, come and walk over. It's a limited number. Yeah. Excellent, excellent. Come over. Yeah. Come over. Yeah. Okay, next time we'll make sure to carry more of these. Um, Awesome. So now let's look at the presentation and let's look at what's happening on the web world and how things are shaping up. So first of all, like on the web, it's more of like a customer talking to a brand. It's a whole customer engaging with their brand, and there are different ways of doing it. Maybe like multiple devices, maybe multiple messages and interaction and stuff. So this used to be a typical scenario. I can see young people sitting here, but in my good old days, there used to be just one screen at the home, and we used to have like battles over the remote control. And it's just one screen, one experience, and that it used to be, where like brands could deliver their message and people get influenced by the brand. But today things have changed. More importantly, as you can see in this picture, there are different devices within people. And there's a concept which is known as continuous partial attention. It's one step beyond multitasking. In continuous partial attention, what happens is that you're looking at your laptop, likewise you're looking at the mobile phone as well. You're looking at your mobile phone, but you have an eye on your tablet also. So that's continuous partial attention across devices that's happening. And given this phenomena of continuous partial attention, the branding on the web becomes very important. That's where ad creatives come into place, and that's where gaming within those ad creatives comes into place. So, of course, I mean, when it comes to gaming on the internet within ad creatives, there are three ways. Like finding your perfect audience, which is, of course, if you're using Google Display Network, you can have demographic targeting, you can have like geographic targeting and stuff. Then engaging them at a higher level, where we'll see how gaming helps and how high level of interaction helps. And then obviously coming back to the reporting part. Something which I wanted to cover on the reporting part is that when you are doing a gaming on a rich media digital creative, every pixel is traceable. How it's traceable, the developers would know. You can place a counter, you can place an exit, you can place a timer, etc. And I'll just share an anecdotal experience of how tracking every pixel on the creative helps. We had like an automobile client, and he did a gaming creative. Now, when the reports came, the creative was forced towards driving test drives. But when the reports came, we found that most of the people who went to the creative actually went and clicked on pricing. And that's the inference you can draw from measurement and reportings on a creative. So I won't take much time. I'll also show some examples across so that we can understand how creatives and how gaming is being like coming at an intersection. Okay. Now, this is like a paid creative. It's on YouTube. It's a masthead. Now, on the right hand, if you see, that's something what a Channel Connect does. There's an API built by us. By the API, what you can do is connect the creatives with your mobile phone and make it a very, very engaging experience. So Skyfall and some of the other cool. I think there's too much of noise already, so I have to fight for my voice. Yeah. So there are many such examples where, like, within an ad creative, you can incorporate gaming, have a user use the QR code, and then use your telephone, use your mobile phone as a game controller. So that's one example. Let me try to cover couple of more examples. I hope the audio works this time. So let's look at this.
Come on! Right something up there.
So that's again Channel Connect. What Channel Connect does is you can have a QR code on the ad creative and use it as a very, very interactive gaming built within the ad creative.
What are you
itself.
doing? Hurry!
Now, I have
Type a
few other
year!
examples
Type
also.
a year!
You can see the Tipex audio coming up already, but it doesn't use a QR code. What it does is within the ad creatives, this gaming being used
Come
in a
on!
very, very interactive way.
Write something up there.
Now, my presentation also focuses on the part that there's so much of talent available within game developers, but there are creative agencies which are working on ads. And I often receive queries from creative agencies and our media clients saying we need gaming capacity to be built within ad creatives. And that's where gaming interfaces with the ad creatives, which are like paid part, and most of the Fortune companies are spending big bucks there for their branding purposes. So it's like convergence of talent and gaming within the ad creatives. The other part which I wanted to cover is there's a resource called as richmediagallery.com. What richmediagallery.com does is hosts all the examples of these creatives which are very, very innovative and which are latest. And it's a free site hosted by Google. So you can just go around and check some examples there. It also has templates for the developers, and you can use those templates. Besides this, there's a certification available there. And we don't charge for that certification. It's an open book certification for the developers, which is called as DoubleClick Studio certification. So if you're interested, you can go ahead and get yourself certified, and your name appears on Rich Media Gallery, which is like a global site hosted by Google. So that was the second part of my presentation, where like I direct you towards resources. So I'll repeat the resource. It's richmediagallery.com. And within richmediagallery.com, when you play with the website, you will find the certification information, and you will find all other examples. In fact, the video that I just now showed is nothing but pulled from richmediagallery.com live. Some of my other examples are also being pulled from richmediagallery.com. Now, coming a step beyond Channel Connect, let's look at some of the other gaming concepts that have gone across on ad units.
Come on! Write something up there.
Way off. Try the Bacante.
A little more to the left.
We're trying our best.
Come on!
Maybe
Write something up there.
You're not very good at this, are you?
Fire all four.
Are you serious?
I'm waiting!
Make it rain. Bullseye. 4 flavors, 4 shapes, new Cheetos mix-ups.
And now going to the Channel Connect part, you click on this, and there's like a QR code, and you can play the game here.
Come on! Write something up there.
This is a paid brand channel where gaming interfaces with creatives. Let's look at the Tipex one. I think this one will have resolution issues, but let's find this.
Oh my god, the bitch is coming! We must end the
Come
party!
on!
We have to end the
Write
party
something
now!
up there.
Hey!
I don't want to end the party. But where the hell is the Tipex tape?
I don't know!
Oh, well done, Mr. Bear.
quick.
You're such a joker.
Quick!
Oh my god. Hurry! Type any year you want with the keyboard, and let's replay the party.
Come on! on!
So
Write
there's like
something
a
up there.
resolution issue.
What are you...
But what happens is that you put an ear there, and it totally interacts with you. So you can like search for this online and go through some of these gaming examples where games have been used on like paid ad creatives and paid brand channels. Um, Now, I also wanted to show some of the APIs that you can use. So this is the Maps API that can be used on Ads Creative and can be further used for gaming. So
Come on! Write something up there.
the language is Japanese, but I think you can still pick the concept, yeah. Now what it does is that it asks you to type a location. So I won't put Bangkok, I won't put Singapore, I'll put Times Square, New York. So this is live, like you use the Maps API in your gaming creatives, and like you within the Maps API you type a location, it'll go to that location and blow it. So within gaming you can use the Maps API in a very, very different and more creative way, where like the creativity can go like really, really enhanced. So those were some of the examples which I wanted to connect. Besides this, the tool that I talked about, and I'll actually require a volunteer from the audience. Anyone who wants to come up, it's very, very simple. Anyone from the audience who wants to come up? Yeah, thank you. Thanks. So one of the things that I'm always been asked when I speak with gaming developers, the gaming developers tell me that we can create games, but we cannot create ad creatives, because ad creatives requires like double-click components, and then there's ad serving. So how do we do that? So to simplify that, we have a tool which is DoubleClick Rich Media Studio. Now all the components are pre-built. All you need to do is like upload stuff here, select templates, and your creative gets made in like 5 or 10 minutes. Now I have a volunteer, and I'm sure he's not used DoubleClick Studio before. Have you used DoubleClick Studio before? No. So I'll make him do and build a creative right in front of you, so that we can see that it's like 10 minutes or 15 minutes. You can incorporate your Flash gaming, Flash animation into things. Yeah. Come up, yeah. So actually a big applause to the brave chap who walked up. Yeah. Okay. So within the UI, we click on layouts, which are templatized solution. I'll just click on buttons and choose things which are easy for the volunteer, and then I'll guide him. It's not that I'll throw him open to the sea. I'll guide him, and then he'll help you create a creative right in front of you. So to make it simple, I'm choosing desktop as an option and not HTML5. But having said that, HTML5 templates are also available. And then again, to make it simple, I'm choosing image gallery. But then you can choose video, videos, animation, push downs, etc. Okay. And then we'll choose the first one. So I'll put in the account name and all the usual things. What's your name? So this is like Gmail. You search for images and then upload them. So the page that you get to is known as fillers. All you have to do is like pick up your images or videos or just upload it. So click on invitation background. Go to images.google.com. Whatever topic you want to search, Bangkok or whatever, and just put 300 by 250.
I'll do Bangkok.
Yeah, 300 by 250, that's the size.
Can I just type in 200? 300. 50. 250. 50. Is that correct?
So I don't know what this is, but this looks like an image that like matches our description. Yeah. So we save this image and we say Noom. Noom. Okay. Now select file and upload it from the desktop. Yeah, Noom. Awesome. Now you can actually customize things to a great level, color, boundaries, mix and match a lot of things. I'm not doing any of that. I've just uploaded a picture. But people who are interested, I can give you access to this tool and you can play around. Okay. Now again, I'm not going and touching anything else. You can customize this to such a level that when you show it to people, they are like, oh my God, this looks very, very innovative. Now I went to image gallery and let's upload an image here. So again, let's select another file, maybe this one. Okay, and then you can upload this. Okay, for the sake of fun, we'll upload one more image. Superboy. Okay. Okay. I'll just upload a backup image in case something happens. Sounds good. Click on forward. Now this is where you can like define all the exit URLs, counters and timers, anything that you want to. So you don't need to code it in Flash actually, it's all like pre-coded. And that's where like we interact with gaming developers and we tell them that you develop your work and then you can use like double-click Rich Media Studio. We click on forward, actually Noom should have clicked it. And the creative is done. Noom uploaded these in front of you, used images, took just 5-7 minutes, and the creative is actually all made. Yeah. I could have further like used social button links or like played around with the images and stuff, and it's all done. So in 5 to 7 minutes, you can actually go ahead and create creatives if you have files ready. Um, and people who are interested, I can give you access to play around with the tool. And I'm ready to take any questions. And thanks so much. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Big thanks to him, like he walked up here. So with that, we come to the end of the presentation. But any questions which you guys have, I'll be happy to take them. In case you are shy, I'm also like informally available. I'll walk down and you can meet me. Yeah. So thank you so much. Real pleasure talking to such enthusiastic crowd. When I entered, there were again like couple of questions. So thank you so much. And don't hesitate. I'm here just for you. Thank you.